It is said that only 1 out of every 4 businesses survive more than 10 years, with over 20% of businesses failing to make it past year number 2. Stock trading, like any other industry, requires skill, dedication, and time to generate incredible returns. While many are called, few are actually able to achieve the money they desire. So why is this? The same principles that apply to any other business also apply to trading. Just as most entrepreneurs will fail when they start their first business, most traders will lose money in their first 5 years of trading. If you treat your trading like a hobby or like a trip to a casino, don't be surprised if you end up losing money. To succeed, you need to adopt the mindset of a professional trader. So how does one go about turning their trading into a business? Number 1, know your inventory. A new coffee shop opened down the block from me. My girlfriend went to visit it the other day. I asked her how it was, and she gave me a simple yet telling answer. I can tell it's the first time she's owned a business. The small shop didn't even have a menu, and the owner wasn't even sure what the prices were of each item. In fact, she was asking my girlfriend what type of food she would like to eat in hopes of getting a sense of what to sell. While it sounds ridiculous, this is exactly the same way most traders go about their trading. They have no clear-cut plan or criteria for which stocks they will buy. Instead, they blindly buy on tips they see on CNBC or chase stocks that are trending on Twitter. Just like our business owner without a real plan, this is a method that is not going to work. Personally, I prefer to trade the strongest stocks, those that have outperformed the general market, especially during a recent correction. I also like to see stocks that have produced strong earnings and sales. I look to buy these stocks from low-risk entry points using both weekly and daily charts to time my entries. Number 2, cut your losses quickly. Legendary trader William O'Neill once gave this analogy. Investing in the stock market is really no different from running your own business. Investing is a business and should be operated as such. Assume you own a small store selling women's clothing. You've bought and stocked women's dresses in 3 colors, yellow, green, and red. The red dresses go quickly. Half the green ones sell, and the yellows don't sell at all. What do you do about it? Do you go to your buyer and say, the red dresses are all sold out. The yellow ones don't seem to have any demand, but I think they're good. Besides, yellow is my favorite color. So let's just buy more of them anyway. Certainly not. The clever merchandiser who survives in the retail business looks at the predicament objectively and says, we sure made a mistake. We'd better get rid of the yellow dresses. Let's have a sale. Mark them down 10%. If they don't sell at that price, mark them down 20%. Let's get our money out of those old dogs no one wants and put it into more of the hot moving dresses that are in demand. Make it a point to cut your losers quickly before they get out of hand. Just like the lady selling the woman's clothing, you don't want to have a store full of out-of-fashion dresses. That is, a portfolio of beaten-down stocks that have fallen 50, 60, or even 70%. Remember, losers tie up both your emotions and your capital, and there's no guarantee a stock will ever return to its prior highs. Make a plan to cut your losses and kick out weak inventory quickly before they put you out of business. Cutting your losses means getting rid of your weakest merchandise. It also means you stop adding more merchandise if things are not working. For instance, to continue with O'Neill's dress analogy, maybe you notice that not just your yellow dresses are selling poorly, but all of your dresses are selling poorly. When you notice a theme like this, do you disregard it and just keep buying more merchandise in an effort to get back to break even? No! You notice that things are not working and you take a step back. The same thing goes with trading. When you're in a hole, you stop digging until you can get a sense of what's really going on. Yet most traders don't do this, and they stubbornly keep buying stocks regardless of market condition. That brings us to number 3. Stock trading is a business, but it's a seasonal one. I want to tell you about a little trip I took a few years back. In 2020, my girlfriend and I took a quick vacation north to a quiet little lakeside hamlet in upstate New York. On the main street in the center of town, there was a tiny little shop that sold snow cones, or what they called Hawaiian shaved ices. These simple yet tasty treats had an impression on me, and I found myself visiting this shop each night while on my stay. Now here's my question for you. Let's say the shopkeeper is making a killing in the summer, as all the tourists flock into her shop night after night. With her confidence at a new all-time high, she does some quick calculations and decides to expand her operation. She takes her profits and uses them to come up with all sorts of new and exciting flavors. With all these complicated recipes, she's just certain she's going to make a lot of money over the next few months. How do you think this will turn out for our budding entrepreneur? She did so well in the summer. And now with all her new and fancy flavors, she's bound to make millions selling her snow cones in December and January. Don't you think her expanded operation is a fantastic idea? Anyone with any sort of business sense realizes this is a terrible idea. See, her success was largely due to the overall conditions. Small cash business in a northern lakeside town in the summer when lots of tourists pass through. It doesn't matter how hard she works or how good her recipes are. If she's trying to sell snow cones in December, it's just not going to work because she's fighting the headwinds of the general conditions. That is, a tourist town that's out of season. People are just not going to want to travel north to be by a lake in the winter, and the demand for snow cones will certainly fall drastically as real snow hits the ground. It doesn't matter how good the snow cones are. There just isn't the need for those tasty treats in the depths of winter. But this is exactly the trap most traders fall into. They make huge returns during the big bull market. Rather than recognizing they found themselves in a hot market, they begin to get arrogant, thinking they are the next Wall Street genius. Just like our shopkeeper, they begin to think of new and complex trading systems to implement, and they ramp up their trading just as the bear market steps in. The truth is, it doesn't matter how much you love a company or how phenomenal their product is. Even if they have fantastic earnings and sales, the stock is going to have a hard time going anywhere if the general conditions are against it. That is, if we are in the midst of a bad bear market. Take Apple in 2008. They had one of the most innovative products ever, the iPhone, and everyone loved it, and yet the stock fell drastically during this period of time. It's not that there was anything wrong with Apple or Steve Jobs. It's just that the overall general conditions were holding the stock back. Like tourists leaving town for the winter, fund managers just didn't have much appetite for stocks during this time. Every day I wake up and I ask myself, what type of market is this? What has been working and what has not been working? And honestly, many times what's working is actually cash. But people just can't accept that. They need constant action, and the stock market is far too exciting for them to step away from. Trading is a business, but it is a seasonal one. Failure to recognize the big picture is a fatal error many traders make. Trying to buy stocks in a bear market is just not going to work. Trying to fight the overall current is a fool's errand. Number 4, keep accurate records. Keeping records is boring. While it can be exciting to trade, very few will enjoy spending a weekend going over their prior trades from the last quarter. This, however, is what separates the professional from the amateur. The pro has records of everything. He has a trade journal with charts where he can show you where he bought and sold every stock he ever owned. He has a spreadsheet filled with his buys and sells so he can crunch his numbers and see what's really going on with his trading. Keeping these kinds of records is akin to knowing the revenues and profit margins of a business. You need to know what's going on. But most people won't do this. They prefer instead to put their head in the sand so they don't have to admit that they're really not that good. But the reality is, the truth shall set you free. Once you know what is going well and not so well, you are empowered to take the steps needed to improve your trading. Maybe you cut off your winners too quickly, or let your losers run. Or maybe you buy extended stocks, or trade too aggressively. I don't know what the issue is for you, and you won't either until you roll up your sleeves and get to know your numbers. From this day forward, set a goal to keep records of your trades. Copy and paste your charts into a Word document so you can review your entries and exits, at least on a quarterly basis. Number 5, procedures and systems. Think of a restaurant you like to frequent. How do they operate? Do you think they just haphazardly order ingredients? Do you think the chef just randomly pours things together in a pot and hopes the meal turns out okay? Of course not. A franchise like McDonald's builds a system around everything and then requires their employees to carry out the system each day. It's the same thing with trading. You need to have rules and the integrity to follow those rules. Some systems and procedures that need to be put in place include what to buy, when to buy, position sizing, how to handle a loser, how to sell a winning stock, how to trail a winning stock. Let's take buying as an example. You can't just buy a stock randomly. Think about it. If you owned a shop, how would you purchase your inventory? Would you just blindly pay any price without negotiating? Would you do any research as to when the right time is to buy? The answer is obvious, and it's exactly the same for traders. Just as it would be unwise to pay elevated prices for your supplies, traders must be sure not to chase extended stocks, and instead they must look for low risk, high probability entry points. This was a mistake I made early on in my career. I chase a high flyer 10% or even 15% above its proper buy point. Then I get knocked out of the trade for a loss. If I had been on top of my game and bought these stocks at proper buy points, many of them would have turned out to be big winners. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. Just as a great negotiator has to be willing to walk away, be prepared to pass on any stock that is extended from its intended buy point. Having a system for various scenarios will leave you prepared and ready to trade, just like the restaurant owner is prepared for the next dinner shift. If you don't have a plan for what to buy, when to buy, how many shares to buy, how to cut your losses, and how to handle a winner, you have no business trading. Formulate your plan before you get into a trade, because trading without a plan is really just planning to fail. Number 6, discipline. Once you lay out your plan, the next step is to make sure you have the discipline to follow it. How do you think a business would run if the owners and employees didn't care enough to clean up at the end of the day, or if they showed up late each and every shift? You can bet that business will be gone pretty soon because they don't have the discipline to do what's needed to make their business run properly. The successful business owner really has no days off. They always have their cell phone with them just in case an issue were to arise with their business. The same thing goes with trading. It requires immense dedication to be a trader. You must have the discipline to screen for winners even when the market is weak. You have to stay in tune with the market even if you are away and out of the country on vacation. You must have the dedication to sit with a winner. You must have the discipline to cut your losses quickly. And most importantly, you must have the dedication to sit and do nothing when conditions are not conducive to trading. The trader who has this type of discipline will eventually find success, just as those disciplined entrepreneurs will eventually thrive in their particular field. It is this level of planning and integrity that separates the winners and losers in each and every field. As Jesse Livermore once wrote, speculation is a hard and trying business, and a speculator must be on the job all the time, or he'll soon have no job to be on. Number 7, pay the upfront cost. Every successful doctor has the same path. They all must go through medical school. That's the upfront cost and the first step that's needed to set someone on their way to becoming a doctor. See, there's a learning curve to become a doctor. You can't just do it overnight. The same thing goes with trading. But far too many people disrespect the profession and believe they can walk on in overnight and make quick and easy money. The successful business owner knows there will be upfront costs, and they cannot succeed on their own. They hire the best to help them design their website, market their products, or manage aspects of their business they cannot attend to by themselves. They are willing to lay the foundation for future success by making sacrifices, even if it means sacrificing time and money in the first few years of opening their new business. It's the same thing with trading. You have to invest in yourself early on. You have to be able to learn from books or from a mentor. Even Tom Brady has a coach. There's always something you can learn, and a good coach will keep you sharp and on track. Most people do not have this type of view when they venture into trading. They don't want to do any sort of work or provide any upfront cost. Instead, they treat their trading like a get-rich-quick scheme or some sort of gambling endeavor. And you know what? It is no surprise then that they get the return of a gambler and not those of a dedicated business person. Number 8, the customer is always right, and so is the market. You've heard it said that the customer is always right, and frankly, in trading, so is the market. Arguing with the market is a fool's game, and is just as fruitless as trying to argue with the ocean. It doesn't matter how much you love a stock, or how much you love the genius CEO. If the stock is running against you, the market has clearly made its judgment. Learn to heed the market's judgment before it's too late. As Jesse Livermore once wrote, markets are never wrong. Opinions often are.